I wanted to talk about new revenue for the city first, because that's an issue. Let me just read a question that I already had written down. How would you work to enhance the city's tax base without burdening working class people any further? How would you bring the city up to the levels of service promised by the master plans in one department after another, parks, roads, etc., without more revenue?
You know, when I was on the Downtown Advisory Board and we were talking about there's not enough money to maintain the parking garages, one of the questions that I asked the city staff person was, as a business owner, the first thing I do is I cut costs when I'm in a revenue problem.
Exactly.
First thing I do is look at every single item and I cut costs. I said, what has the city done to cut costs before you're asking for more revenue? And she said to me, the city doesn't need to cut costs, we just need more money. Well, that attitude has got to go. I think we need to cut costs before we ask for more revenue. I think we can, if we got more citizen input, we wouldn't have the need for all these outside consultants that we hire to come into our city and tell us what we want. Let's ask the citizens what they want in their community and cut the number of consultants we use in half. That'll save millions of dollars.
They've
right there.
contended they've cut costs. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
But is
I
that
know.
not the case?
Well, they keep saying they've cut 7 people from, the 7 FTE, full-time positions. And what the next paragraph said, though, is they added 15 in some other department. So they're telling us that they're cutting staff, but in reality, they're adding staff every year. So,
Is it true, and it's not the council speaking, it's sort of general information, that we employ no more people now than we did 20 or 30 years ago?
per capita?
Is that not true in an absolute number sense?
No.
Of city employment?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Per capita?
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's
Well-
per capita. So
Well,
as the
that makes
population
that a
grows.
pretty slippery argument.
Yeah, doesn't it? Wow. Another thing is the budget. I would ask for volunteers from the community, maybe accountants, to take over one little section of the budget, because I did that downtown and I looked at the parking budget, and then I found out the parking district is funded by the tax that the downtown businesses pay, plus the amount of permits that they sell to employees to park in the parking garages. And then I sat down with Dick Hayden, who was long ago director of urban development, and I asked him about why the leasehold fund was ever created. The leasehold fund captures all the income from the ground floor tenants in Chemeketa and Liberty Parkade. And he explained to me how when they were building, the city was building those 2 parking structures, they ran out of money. They didn't sell enough bond money. So they went to a local bank and they borrowed the money needed to finish the construction of those 2 garages. Well, in order to get the loan, the bank required them to set aside a source of income to pay back the loan.
Right.
So they took the rents from the ground floor of the parking structures and put it in what's called the leasehold fund that then repaid the bank the money.
Made it a de facto revenue bond.
Yes, yes, but the parking structure loan's been paid off for over 10 years, so why is that money that comes from the parking garages, why is it not being used to maintain the garages? All they use it for is tenant improvements. $500,000 a year. They have, 20 tenants at the most, and half of them are city tenants? That's another thing, the city doesn't pay rent when they put their offices in Chemeketa Parkade. So no wonder we don't have money to maintain the garages. The city's getting free rent there.
Of course,
And then
Janet
they're
Taylor's solution was sell them.
Yeah, that's another big problem. But if we painted the ceilings in there, put in better light, if people felt safer, I think they feel they're dark and dank, and Barbara Curtin said, and spiders be there. That was her description of our parking garages. And I tend to believe her. But you know what? If we put a gate on the parking garages and just charged $1 for anybody who wants to use those garages and left all the parking on the street free, then all the employees could park in the parking structures where we want them to park and free up the space for the customers who want to park in the street. Plus, the city would make $1 million more a year in revenue because that many people use the parking structures. And I don't think most...
Cost the employees? $20 a month.
Right, if they're a full-time employee. A lot of our employees downtown just work for 2 hours on a restaurant during the lunch hour. They can't afford even the $30 part-time permit. So, sorry to bring it back to downtown, but I think if we go through the budget, if somebody got assigned each little section of the budget, like I assigned myself to that one, I think we could make some changes in the budget to free up more money for things citizens want.
So your answer to new revenues for the city to meet its already stated master plan goals is before that, look at cuts.
Yes, savings. I want to say cut savings.
Sound like a
Savings.
conservative.
You know, I am a fiscal conservative, I think, when it comes to, because having run a business for so long, you have to be on top of the finances.
Absolutely.
If you're not, you don't have a business.